Hi everyone, it's Kristi. Welcome back to my channel. I've got my mocha here. I'm ready to go. This was the mini envelope journal, manila envelope journal that we've been working on. I was going to show you the other covers. We worked on the cotton here, and I chose to do this one. I haven't folded these yet. This one with the marble or cement like lining. I haven't decided which way I want this to go yet. Probably this way. And then I had to have the cow here, and I used this is the marble one. This one is more of the where is it? More of a it kind of looks like a cement blended with a linen. It had a little rust on it. I didn't use that portion of it, as you can see, but yeah, so these will be fun. But we're going to continue working on with this one, and I'm going to work on these on the side. So today we want to do our signatures. Now, the reason I love these manila envelope journals is because if I'm using the 12 by 9 journal and I fold it in half, it makes a 9 by 6 journal. And I can use 8.5 by 11 paper folded in half and not have to trim it down. Pretty much the same thing with this one. The 9 by 6, I can use a half sheet and fold it in half, and that works out quite nicely. So I'd like to have about 15 to 16 inserts. I usually will use 5 or 6 of the collection, and in this case I think I'm going to use 6. And then I'll use 5 coffee dye, tea dyed, tan, white, blank, basically, papers. And then I use my 5 miscellaneous. Now, my miscellaneous are very consistent. I love my graph paper. I love my green bar ledger paper, and I like doilies and envelopes, and so I kind of interchange those a little bit. In fact, I had an envelope here. Here's an envelope. Now this one happens to be coffee dyed, but that's okay. That'll be the only coffee dyed thing in here probably, because I wanted to go back to basics. So basically, not to be redundant, no inking and no lace on this project. As much as I love it and I want to add the lace and the bling and the ink, I'm going to avoid it at all costs. In fact, I probably should switch this out with a white envelope, and I may do that. I happen to have one right here. So let's do that. That way we're consistent. And what I'm going to do with this one, oh my goodness, I just brushed my hair, so there's hair everywhere. I'm going to trim this down, and I am going to use the glue stick for this. Get it off the stack of paper. And I am going to put this inside the envelope. If you open it all the way, you can get that in without too much glue problems, issues like that. And then I will just rub that down a little bit. And then the way I like to have this is I just fold this in half. Now this is a letter size, not legal business size. This is a letter size envelope, which measures almost 6.5 by 3.5. That's the size of this envelope. So I'm just folding this in half to use in here. So that'll be one of my miscellaneous. Let's cover up that glue. And let me get my cutter out here. You know, I wish there was something on this side of the recording that would show that I am recording. But I have to be up here on the top to see if it's recording. There needs to be a light on this side, but that's okay. Alright, so I'm going to fold this in half, and I'm going to go ahead and use 2 of these. This is 8.5 by 11, so I'm going to cut this at 5.5. I apologize if you can't see what I'm doing, but doesn't fit all the way in the frame sometimes. Whoops. Don't know my own strength there. Alright, and I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. This is the Hammermill Tan Paper. show you. It comes like this. I got it on Amazon, and this is the label. I do have a link below. Hopefully you can see that. I have a link below to that paper if you're interested in that. So let's cut some of this tan paper. It's been saving me some time in coffee dyeing or tea dyeing, but I actually need to get back to that because it doesn't have the same feel as the coffee dyed paper. So all right, so we're gonna, let me go ahead and, before I get to the scrapbook portion of this video, because these are just 12 by 12 from the Farmhouse collection, I want to kind of, and you can see I'm off here. My cutter sometimes is off like 1/16 or an 1/8 of an inch. Sometimes it's me, sometimes it's my cutter. That's what I'm going with. But I don't care if it's completely perfect. My main concern is, does it fit inside the cover? And yes, it does. I may have to trim down a little bit, but probably not. If I put a couple of tabs here and there, it's not going to matter. Usually what I do, in fact, if I put that all the way in, because it wasn't all the way in, you can see I have a good 1/4 of an inch. But a lot of times, because I like the lace and the bling and the inking and all of that stuff, I'll put some trim on the first page, and then that will kind of hang out and cover any, rather than having to trim. So that all fits. So what we need to do is figure out what size this needs to be. Well, we know those pieces are 8.5 by 5.5, so that's the size I'm going with. I like to have about an 1/8 of an inch all the way around, but it's easy just to keep the sizes the same. So I want this to be 8.5 this way. So I'm going to cut the biggest piece first. I'm going to go 5.5. And 5.5. I say the biggest piece, but I didn't do it the right way. 8.5. But these are perfect for tags or journal cards or whatever. So I have 5.5 by 8.5, and I was more concerned about the direction of this paper. So let's get this at 8.5. So if I had cut the 8.5 first, I would have had a longer piece here, but that's okay. That's okay. So I only need one of those because I've got 6 backgrounds, so I'll use one of those on the other one. This one's non-directional. I probably could do 2 of these at a time. Let's see. Let's try doing the 8.5 first and see what happens. These don't have to be any particular direction. So 8.5. Yeah, so see, then I end up with that 3.5 by 12 piece. And then we'll turn this to 5.5. And I've got 2 of those. Okay, so that leaves me bigger pieces. And let's see. I've got 1, 2. Let's do the directional one. And I will go ahead and do the 8.5 first. I hope everyone is doing well. We had a good holiday, you know, starting with Thanksgiving. My brother was able to come out and visit, so that was nice. My mom's doing a little better, so she was able to get out of bed for a few hours on Christmas, so that was nice. And then New Year's we just spent, and I need to decide which way do I want this. I want this in the book so I can write on the lines, I think. So I'm going to do the 8.5 this way. Anyway, so New Year's we just kind of chilled. The kids had some friends over on New Year's Eve. My husband had to work on New Year's Day, so you know, just kick back, relax. I'm going to do that like that. And then I've got these two, which aren't really directional. I mean, I'm not quite sure if this is like airplanes or chicken scratch or what that is. So I'm just going to go, I think it's random. Well, it's not random. It's a precise pattern, but for my intents and purposes, it doesn't matter. All right. So, did we do all 6? Let's see. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So that's what we've got here. And so I've got the envelope. So what I'll do is I'll make 3 piles. I'll do my miscellaneous piles. And I kind of put them in order so they're not... Oh, somebody is at the door. I'll be right back. Okay, that was just a split second for you, but for me, it was Happy Mail. This is what came. Really strange. It came UPS all by itself. I have a few things that I've ordered from Christmas that are trickling in. I told you I got the scan and cut, but I did order this stencil because I can see using it quite a bit. I do a lot of florals. And then I have another pack of 5. I don't remember if I ordered it or not, so that might not be forthcoming. Anyway, if you're interested, I can leave a link below. I did get this on Amazon, and I want to say it was $6.95. But can you see that without the glare? I just love it. And I do have the die cut that matches one of these corners or something very similar, so we'll be using those coming up in the not too distant future. I think I'm going to do a floral February. So anyway, okay, so like I said, I'm just taking these all apart. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I need one more of these. I have a bunch of stuff behind me waiting to be used for the other 2 that I'm working on. So that's what these stack behind me is going for. All right, so basically 3 stacks. I've got my, I don't want these to be nested because they're harder to grab that way. So I've got 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of my blank pages, and I've got 5 of my, we'll call them miscellaneous, and I did put these in order of how I want them because I don't want, you know, 2 of these together and 2 of these together, whatever. So I'll put the envelope in the middle. And then I have these. Now I think I'm going to fold these individually. So 1, 2. Probably should have gotten out my scoreboard for this. It does make it a lot faster to just be able to bump it over to the side and fold it. And this is a very lightweight cardstock or heavyweight paper, if you will. It's probably, I don't know, it feels lighter, maybe 40 pounds, something like that. I'm not quite sure because I know the 65-pound cardstock is thicker than this, but it doesn't feel like 32-pound paper. I do have some 40-pound. I'm going to have to compare it to that. So, all right. So let's decide which one we want on the cover. Now we have this on the cover. So I think I want something just kind of random. Let's put, and what I do is I lay these out a little bit and I kind of look, well, these 2 seem kind of dark, so I want to move this one back here a little bit, kind of space that out, maybe move this here like that, but then these are both geometric, so maybe I'll switch these, and you don't have to think this much. This is just my process. I like that. Okay, so this is how we're going to do. I'm going to take this as my first one. Come on. My second one, I did talk to my sister yesterday about getting my nails done because they are way too long. And she's like, yeah, we need to get you in. Okay, and then that way I just have everything kind of spaced out the way I like it. Should end up, because I have 5 of everything, and I have 6 of the designer pages, then I should end up with that as my middle, and we will flip that one the other way. And there we go. And then I will flip this one so that because I like it to be on the inside. So it goes this way, I think. All right, so there we go. There's our papers. If this bothers you, you know, I wouldn't trim it. I've seen a lot of people, they trim it right now. I don't trim mine if I'm going to trim it. Normally I don't, but I have. And if I do, I wait till it's sewn in because that kind of pulls it in a little bit more. So let's go ahead and sew this in. I'm not going to measure anything. I'm going to pull out my Reader's Digest book. Noonan. My great-great-grandmother was a Noonan. Okay, let's see. I need my sewing bag. Oh, sorry. I hit the cord for the ring light. And which needles? I like these needles. These were I think these were my grandma's needles. It doesn't have a date or anything on it, but it's from Greenville, South Carolina. I mean, that's where Coates and Company is anyway, but I'm going to go ahead and use this one. You can see I use this the most. I'm going to do 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and a smidge extra. And clip that off. Now, I'm trying to use up this as much as possible, as quick as possible. This wax is not sticky anymore, and it really does help to have sticky wax. And what I find that I like the best, that I have not been able to get recently, is the bead waxed linen cord from Walmart. And when you tie it, or you even just do that, it kind of sticks to itself. So it makes it a lot easier. Oh, my daughter went to a totally random, that's how I am. I see squirrels everywhere. My daughter went to a wedding last Sunday, and she said, Mom, I brought you something. And it was this, a piece of twine with a little bee on it. She knew I would use it for a journal. Isn't that cute? And I was like, oh, I just sold both of my bee journals. But of course, I would like to put some black paint on that and kind of antique it a little bit because it's awfully stark. But I thought that was funny that she brought me that as my souvenir for the wedding. All right, so I need my awl, and it should be here. Sorry if this is kind of haphazard here. Like I said, I'm not going to measure anything. I'm going to put these in the cover, and I'm going to clip them with my clips, which were here. There's one. And here's the other one. And I just want to make sure that everything is down in there nice and tight. Now what I will sometimes do is take my Holtz Ruler and just kind of push that down and then loosen this and tighten it back up. Okay, now this is a little higher than I want. It doesn't seem to be as straight as I'd like. I want to move this down a little bit on this side. Just a smidge. I might have to loosen that up a little bit too, because I see that plaid showing. And you know, this is something that only the maker is really going to pay attention to. The person who receives this is not really going to notice. Okay. I want to get this around the side here. But I don't want that to bubble up. I want that to be smooth. There we go. All right. So I'm going to come in with a hole, and that's almost centered, but not quite. I think this is going to be centered, so I'm going to go all the way through and all the way through and all the way through. I think I went crooked with that one up there. Let's do that again. Oops. All right, so then sometimes this will have a tendency to crack a little bit, but what I like to do is come in from the outside and go about halfway down, or at least like 1.5 inches, just to make sure the hole is big enough for my needle. I'll do that here. This is why I do so much inking, because the covers have a tendency to crack, the cardstock, but that's okay. It just makes it look vintage, in my opinion. So there we go. All right, so I'm going to start from the middle. Now you could do this with a ribbon and start from the outside if you wanted, but I'm going to start from the middle on the inside and pull that through. And then I'm going to clip this right up here, like such. Okay, just I still can't pull hard on it, but it'll help it from getting lost. And then I'm going to poke through the one at the bottom or the top. It doesn't matter. I'm not sure which way I have it at the moment. Probably should have checked that, huh? Before I get too much sewn in, yeah, that's going the right way. Let's make sure that other one. Which one was it? The trees? I'm pretty sure I put them all in right, but it would be just like me to put them in upside down. Nope, they're right. They're not trees, they're ferns. Okay, so we're going to stick that one in there and come out that hole. Now, we're pulling this way a little bit, so that's going to allow us to go back in that hole without splitting the thread. You don't want to split the thread. But when you come in here, you want to go under, because you want to have the tying threads on either side of this, okay? And that will help. Now I'm going to pull this so that it's nice and taut. Not too tight, but you want to check back here, make sure nothing's loose, and just kind of feel it in here, make sure nothing's loose. And then I'm going to tie that like so, a double knot, and then a bow. And I did it with these nails. I can't believe it. Okay, and then I'm just going to trim that off. And there we have it. I can take that clip off. And there we have all our pages sewn in. Now, I probably, because this is cracking, you see how that is cracking right there? I'm going to come in and I'm going to put some tape or something. Now, we reinforced the inside, if you'll remember, with the Tyvek. But I think I'm going to come back out here, maybe run a piece of the micropore down the center, and then we will cover that piece with maybe a contrasting piece of paper or anything. It could be a piece of fabric, anything. So I can kind of see where the center is on here and just come down like that. And what that's going to do is reinforce that paper on the outside so it stops. It's not really tearing apart, it's just that the white core is peeking through, and so I'm just going to trim this off. I don't like using my good scissors on the micropore, but because they do get gummy, even though they're Teflon. So this is some good tape. Okay, and I think I didn't get that one really straight, but try that again. It's kind of a weird angle. There we go. No? Well, I don't think it's going to show either way. There we go. I want to make sure that I press that down so it's not sticking to stuff. And yeah, and then we'll come back and cover that. Maybe there again, I said I wasn't going to use lace, and I said I wasn't going to use, you know, coffee dyed or ink. Normally, if I was going to leave this, I would have just inked that up, and it would cover the white core showing through. I would have inked all the way around. But I'm going to come back probably with a contrasting piece of something. So there you go. You could leave it just like this, and this is a nice little booklet to toss in your purse. There's a pocket here. We can add something there. I put this toward the top. You could put it toward the bottom. You could put it in the middle. It doesn't really matter where it goes. Lots of blank pages to write on. But I'd like to put some pockets and things in it. So I will be back next time. Not sure if it'll be tomorrow. My schedule right now is very sporadic and lots of appointments and things going on. But I will be back, and we will carry on decorating this, and I will put some kind of, maybe I'll use one of my decorative edge punches and put something along there. We'll see. Okay, so that's it for today. I hope you guys like the Back to Basics. I think it's fun, and like I said, you can stop here and be done. It's all about how much do you want to put into it. Well, I want to put a little bit more, and just a reminder that I have this junk journal checklist in my let me show you a blank one here. This is in my Facebook page. If you don't use Facebook and you want me to email it to you, I'm happy to do that. Just send me a message on my Etsy, through my Etsy shop, or at you can email me to burlapanddailybread@gmail.com, and I'll email it to you. There's 4 to a page, but it basically, this is my checklist and my jumping off point for most of the journals that I do. I do have some blanks. I usually will write the name of the journal, and if I'm, you know, if it's a design team project or who did the designer pages or whatever, any notes down on the bottom. But this is my jumping off point, and I like having that handy. I use that for each journal, and I've showed it to you before, but just a reminder that it is in the file section of my Facebook group, along with the freebies. And if you didn't pick up the Christmas freebies, do that, because that was a really nice Trees and Stars is one of my favorite collections that I've designed. So pick that up, because I am going to be removing that at the end of January and listing it in my Etsy store. So I thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.